everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm here today to show you how I made my bookmark fancy fold card that I shared on my blog today. So this was a card I shared for a Festive Friday challenge for celebrating Thanksgiving. So my card features the Autumn Goodness stamp set as well as the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper as well as copper foil. It just seemed perfect for a Thanksgiving themed card. So I want to show you how I made the card, the instructions for this, the written instructions, as well as all of the measurements for this card are on my blog, which I will post the link to below this video when I get the video posted, so that you can go back to it. So you don't have to worry about trying to write down the instructions and all of the measurements, because you'll be able to go and find those on my blog. But what I wanted to do is walk you through the cutting, the scoring for the card base as well as for the designer series paper. And then you can decorate this card however you want to. But I thought that if I walked you through those, that's the hardest part of this card. The decorating becomes the fun part. So let me just transfer over to my desktop and we'll get started. All right. So this is the card that I posted. So this is why it's called a bookmark fancy fold. So it opens up like this, opens kind of like a book. And then at the back is this bookmark that whoever you give this to can take and use over and over again. So as I said, this was for a Festive Friday challenge where the theme was Thanksgiving. So I have used the Autumn Goodness stamp set on mine. I stamped on watercolor paper, and then I used Tuxedo Black Memento ink to stamp. So I used to stamp the image, and I used clear embossing powder and embossed the image after I had stamped it, because I wanted to watercolor and I wanted to make sure that the black ink didn't run at all. And then I used the watercolor pencils to color this. Isn't that pretty? Just love watercolor. And then I used a blender pen to blend the colors. So the colors I used were from the basic assortment of watercolor, pumpkin pie, garden green, daffodil delight, and I think I used a little bit of red because I realized that these were probably apples and not pumpkins. I think those were the colors that I used. Oh, and early espresso for the basket. And then I cut this out using the medium die from the dies that go along with the Hippo Happiness bundle. I've used the copper foil sheets and I embossed these using the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And then the designer series paper is the Gilded Autumn designer series paper. Some of the, these are the tasteful, in good taste, nature elements that I've got the leaves from. And then the copper ribbon is from the basket weave and copper ribbon combination that is available in the Gilded Autumn product suite. And this is a classic label punch that I just stamped the sentiment out and cut it in two, and then some twine. So let me show you how I cut this out. As I said, I'm not going to decorate the whole card, but I wanted to show you how I actually cut it out, scored it for both of the card base and the designer series paper. Okay, so on my blog, there is a link as well as this image. So a link to this template for making this card so that you can refer back to it. And hopefully after you've seen the video and looked at my written instructions, this will make more sense. So the first thing that you need is a piece of cardstock. I'm using garden green on this one, and it is cut 5.5 by 8.5. Again, all of this will be on my blog when you look at this video, so that you're not having to worry about getting all of the instructions. I'm just going to try and go out a little bit. Okay, so I've got my trimmer. So the first thing that you want to do is at 1 inch, so I'm going to line up my right edge with the 1 inch mark. You want to cut from 1 inch all the way down to 5.25 inches. So that's what it's this line. So the solid line says, so this is saying cut it 1 inch and go from 1 inch to 5.25, and you're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so then I'm just going to turn it over. And again, 1 inch, so So from 1 inch down to 5¼ inches. There we go. So now I've got the two cut pieces done on the card. That's the only cutting that it will be on the card. The rest of it is scored. So then what you want to do is at 1 inch, so line up your edge at the 1 inch mark. Get your cutting blade out of the way because you're not going to use it. If you're like me, you will make the mistake and start cutting. So you don't want to do that. All right, so then what you want to do is you want to score between the cut lines. So you're scoring it from the 1 inch down to the 5¼ Oopsie. Sorry, that's wrong. You're going to score from the 1 inch down to the 4½ inch line. So it's between the two cut lines. Then the same thing, you're going to move your edge over to 2 inches and you're going to score between the cut lines like that. So just between the two cut lines. And then you're going to move it to 5¼ and do exactly the same thing. So between the cut lines, score. All right, so now I have my two cut lines here and here, and I've got it scored at 1, at 2, and at 5¼ between those cut lines. The next thing you want to do is put your edge up to the 4¼ inch, and you want to score from the cut line to the bottom of the card and the cut line to the top of the card. So this will allow your card to fold in half. Oops, from there to there. And the last thing you want to do, I have to open up my blade, is I'm going to put mine at 6 3/8, which is there, and I'm going to score right from the top to the bottom of that. Okay, so that's my last score. So now that's the card base all cut out and scored. So I will just show you, get out of the way, how this goes together. So the easy part is this folds in like that, and you can just use your bone folder to give it a good crease. And then these two lines, not the middle, just these two lines fold in, because this will be how the card folds in half for mailing, like that. And then if you look at my card, so you want to fold down on the first fold and up on the second fold. So we're going to take this and we're going to fold down on this first fold, up, so kind of accordion, and then the last fold is down. So this all fits together like this. And then you can, once you've got it together, you can just take your bone folder and give it a good crease. Okay, so let me do that again. So you want to go down on this first fold, up on the second fold, and down on the third fold. And then these fold down as well, if that makes sense. So I guess you could do down, up, if you wanted to think about it. So down, that one goes up, these go down, and this one comes up. And it should form, so this would be a standard 4¼ by 5½ inch size, which will go perfectly in one of our envelopes. Okay, hopefully that makes sense and you can get it folded. Now, the next thing to do, you're done with your card base. The next thing you want to do is cut the pieces that go around. So these ones I cut out from a single piece. Sorry, this front I cut from a single piece of copper foil, and then this from a single piece of copper foil. So let me show you how I did that. So I'm going to put that out of the way for now. Okay, so this is my piece of designer series paper. This is actually from the Poinsettia Place designer series paper that I'm using for mine today. So I cut this 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So you could cut it a little bit smaller if you wanted more of the card base to show, but I'm just having just a little peek of the card base showing. All right, so what you want to do is you want to put your piece of cardstock in, and you want to, oops, cut it 3/8. So I'm trying to explain this. So you're going to cut it at 7/8. So these are 7/8 of an inch wide. This piece here is 1 inch wide. So for mine, I'm cutting this piece 7/8 of an inch wide, and the same with this piece. So you want to cut it at 7/8 all the way down to 3 1/8. So I've got mine lined up with the 7/8, and I'm going down to 3 1/8. Okay. And then you're going to turn it, put it at 7/8, and you're going to go down from the 7/8 mark, see where that is, across to, let's see, this is a little bit harder. My measurements are a little bit out going this way. I've got to think about this. 3, 5, 7. So 4 to 4.5. And then you're going to turn this, line it up at the 7/8 mark, and cut up to this mark here. Now you can always take your paper snips if yours didn't quite go up. Sometimes I'd rather err on the side of caution and not go too far than go a little bit over. So I'm just going to take my paper snips and just snip up to meet the line. There we go, that's 1, and that's 2. There we go. So this piece now fits here. Okay, so you can take your Stampin' Seal, turn her out of the way for a minute, whichever side you want to use. You can take and just line up this edge, that edge, there. So that goes down like that. Now we're going to do the same with this other piece. So this piece will go here. And you're going to do the same. You want the width of this to be 7/8. This is a little bit wider. So this is actually, if I measure, this is actually 1 1/8. So you're going to go to 1 inch. So what you want to do is line up this at 7/8, and you're going to score. So this is 2 inches. You're going to score down to the 1 inch mark. Okay, and then you're going to turn and mark it at 1 inch, because that's how you want this one to be a little bit wider, and you're going to score, oops, not score, cut down from that line down to 7/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so to 4.5. And turn it again and line it up with a 7/8 and score cut to the edge. Now again, I'm going to take my paper snips and just snip and get that edge. There we go. Oops. I want my trimmer to fold. So now this piece fits in like that. Perfect kind of frame to your piece. All right, so we'll just, that will go like that. Okay. And then the last piece, oops, it's here. So I've got 2 pieces here for the inside of the card. So this is designer series paper as well. And this is cut 3 1/8 by 3 3/8. And it will adhere. So I'm using the opposite side of this. If you can use the same side. You can get something different completely if you wanted to. It's up to you how you want to decorate. And then I have one more piece that is cut 7/8 of an inch by 3 3/8, and it will fit right there. All right, so that's your card front. So the last thing that you want to do is for this. Now, for this card, I didn't bring, this is my piece. I've got early espresso for the bookmark itself. So you need a piece that is 1 inch by 3 inches. And what you're going to do, this will be the holder for the bookmark. So you're going to score this on the, oops, you don't want to cut it, score it at 1/2 inch on both sides of this, on the short edge, on the short edges. That way. Oops, it's going to fall. Don't want to do that. There we go. All right. So then this will fold like this. And you can then put a little holder here for the bookmark. So this will just, your bookmark will actually tuck in like this. So I just used, you could use some tear and tape adhesive. I'm just using my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to do just a little bit along the edge as well, so that it holds it in place. Some adhesive. All right, so we're just going to, if you wanted to, you could decorate the back like I did on my card. I actually put some of the same, the designer series paper on the back to decorate it. But for this one, I'm just going to use the garden green, since I don't have much of the garden green showing on my card. I brought the scallop tag topper. I think that's what it is, scallop tag topper punch. And I'm just going to cut. This is quite small, so you want to just kind of look at the back of it to cut and make sure that your tag part is on the top, is centered. You can do that. So there's the tag, and then I've got some of the designer series paper that I am just going to use. It's from my adhesive one. I got a sticky. All right, let's do that. Oops, get it lined up. And I've got this a little bit, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off. There we go. The adhesive off, it just kind of rubs off with your fingers. All right, so that's really what it takes to put this card together. As I said, you can decorate it however you want. If I bring mine back in that I did for the Festive Fridays challenge, you can decorate it however you want. This was embossed, the foil. On this one, I've just used designer series paper. Add some ribbon and some twine. Put a sentiment wherever. You can put your stamp and image here. You can put your sentiment here, however it is you want. But either way, however you decorate it, you've got a really beautiful card to give to somebody for any occasion. This is, you know, one of those kind of wow cards, I think, that somebody would just love to get in the mail. So I'm not sure who I'll give this to, but this will be going out for somebody at Christmas time. So let me just switch back. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it made sense. If you do have questions as you try to put the card together, please leave me a comment on either my blog post or on the video. I'd love to help you out. I'm hoping it was clear enough that you will be able to cut this and make some beautiful cards. So thank you very much for joining. As you're looking at this video, I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can just do that. There's a subscribe button right from as you're watching the video. So I'd love for you to do that, and then you can get notified when I post my upcoming videos. I think that's it. Thanks very much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.